He won an election promising to get Brexit done and telling the British public he had an oven-ready deal. Now, could he be driving a coach and horses through the divorce agreement signed last year with the European Union? This week, Boris Johnson's government is expected to introduce legislation changing agreed rules on exporting goods across the Irish Sea. Brussels believes that would contradict the withdrawal agreement, breaching Britain's international legal responsibilities, and risk a hard border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. The head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, tweeted,
"I trust the British government to implement the withdrawal agreement, an obligation under international law and prerequisite for any future partnership. Protocol on Ireland, Northern Ireland is essential to protect peace and stability on the island and integrity of the single market."
EU chief negotiator Michel Barnier, who's in London on Tuesday for the 8th round of talks, says he remains worried because Boris Johnson seems to want the best of both worlds. At the same time, the Prime Minister's telling the EU there needs to be a deal struck by the next leaders' summit in mid-October. In a written statement, he said, "There needs to be an agreement with our European friends by the time of the European Council on the 15th of October if it's going to be enforced by the end of the year. So there is no sense in thinking about timelines that go beyond that point. If we can't agree by then I do not see that there will be a free trade agreement between us, and we should both accept that and move on." Nobody's quite clear why the UK government's doing this. It might be to pressure Brussels into making further concessions in tricky areas such as fishing rights. Perhaps it's designed to please hardliners in Boris Johnson's Conservative Party before the UK makes its own concessions over the next month. Or maybe it's part of a strategy to let the UK head off into the uncertain waters of a no-deal Brexit.
That further delay...
In his statement, Boris Johnson says the latter would be a good outcome for Britain. This expert says whatever the intention, the most likely outcome now is no deal, the UK trading with the EU on World Trade Organization rules.
The European Union is increasingly unworried by a no-deal Brexit. They see it as now a second or third order issue in terms of priorities for them. And obviously the UK government is headed by a Prime Minister and a Chief Advisor who are not worried at all about no deal and can see, they see the political and economic upsides of a no deal as worth pursuing.
This month, groups representing UK truckers contacted the government saying it was sleepwalking into a disaster, warning of severe disruption to supply chains. And on Monday, another warning from Berlin.
The UK must be willing to compromise on the key issues: governance, level playing field and fisheries. Once more, we believe a deal can be reached, but at the same time, the German government is preparing for a no-deal situation.
With the prolonged status quo coming to an end on the 31st of December, time is of the essence. Unless, of course, you're running down the clock. Nadine Barber, Al Jazeera, London.